Again, thank you for joining us on the program. It is Back to Work Monday. Let us begin with details of our top stories. A sit-at-home protest is expected to be observed in Togo this Monday after opposition parties in the country called on supporters to sustain their protest for political reforms. Mass anti-government rallies have repeatedly been held across the country in recent months, with protesters demanding constitutional reforms and an end to the 50-year rule by the Gnassingbe family. They also want a two-term limit for presidents.
This is perhaps a sign that an end to the crisis is within reach. Several Togolese civil society organizations, trade unions and diaspora organizations met this weekend in Lomé to discuss it. The Togolese present at this forum were asked to reflect and identify the causes of this open crisis that has been ongoing since August 19. We will talk about it with Professor David Doze, spokesman of the Front Citoyen Togo Debut. Professor Doze, hello. Several Togolese civil society organizations, trade unions and diaspora organizations met this weekend in Lomé to reflect on a way of the Togolese crisis. I read to understand that you have acknowledged the failure of sub-regional mediation.
Ne parlons pas d'échec au niveau de la civile.
We are not talking about failure in civil society, but it is certain that since the dialogue began in February, things have not changed much. So it was important that as Togolese citizens, we could clearly express our opinion on the crisis, its nature, make a diagnosis of it and propose solutions to the end of the crisis. So that's why we tried to do it on Friday 15th by meeting all together or behind civil society, a quality representation with several actors, priests, pastors, people from the Muslim community, as I said about the unions, and really we try to reflect on the crisis and find solutions. In the memorandum you developed at the end of this forum, you point to bad governance and non-application of the recommendations of the various. Was there another need for a forum to denounce things that the opposition has always been crying out for?
Fallait-il un forum de plus pour dénoncer finalement des choses que l'opposition décrit depuis toujours?
So far as you've said, it is essentially the political organizations that have spoken. Civil society organizations have also spoken out, but each time unilaterally. But this time, the difference is that we are all together to say the same thing. This is really a way of raising our voices so that we can be heard at national level, but also at international level by all the institutions. The fact that in our country there are institutions, but that these institutions are not credible is a big problem. When you follow the history of our country a little bit, every time there have been problems, it is because elections have been poorly held, with institutions that have been able to give good results, have not been able to give good results. There's always been a protest, repression and massacres. That is what has led the situation in Togo. It is therefore important that we insist on this diagnosis, the fact that the existing institutions do not play the role, and insist on the need to set up a mission government that will be charged exclusively or almost exclusively with rebuilding our institutions. The government and opposition are at the 27th dialogue in Togo without finding a consensus. What makes you think your initiative will be the right way out of this crisis?
Pour enfin sortir de la crise qui sévit au Togo depuis plusieurs mois.
I think that at some point, common sense should take precedence over the current situation, and common sense dictates that democracy can return to Togo. Today, we are 15 countries in the community area, and Togo is the only country never to have experienced a pacific political alternation. So, we are going after the civil society forum that we held on Friday, 15 June. We are going to make a plea to lobby ECOWAS, since ECOWAS has a representation in Lomé. We will therefore go to ECOWAS to express ourselves. We will see the coalition of 50 political parties to say that it is what civil society thinks. We will also go towards the Togolese government, because in any case, we are Togolese citizens, and therefore we have the right and even the duty to address the Togolese government to say that it is important today that the problem of the institutions may be definitely resolved. Citizens are having a hard time getting out of it. No matter what industry you take, the signals are red. I'm a doctor. I know what I'm talking about. In the health sector, it is catastrophic. In the education, it is catastrophic. We can't go on like this. As Togolese citizens, we want things to change. And we also want things to go in a positive direction. So we will fight to be heard at all levels.
We shall
have to leave it there this morning, but we will obviously continue to follow the developments concerning these avenues of discussion and for the ending of the crisis. Thank you, Mr. Dose. David Dose, spokesman, Front Citoyen, Togo debut. He's a spokesman.